Let me break it down for you as simply as I can, alright? Today, we played a team who were rejected from the Premier League for not being good enough. The reason they were not good enough is because they kicked the little white thing full of air around not as well as everybody else in the league. Well, today, they put out their reserves and they put out 10 of them. 10 of their reserves played 11 of our players and we lost. And as a result, we are no longer in the FA Cup. I don't think we registered a shot on target until possibly the 88th minute, although I may well be wrong. What you have seen now is nothing short of an insipid surrender of what was traditionally an important competition for West Ham United. I do believe that we put in minimal effort. Later on we will do the full review. I'm sure Gio will upload something later on. And during it he will talk about a man of the match. The only player that seemed remotely concerned about West Ham today was Declan Rice. Although Declan Rice's mind was willing, alas, he is a centre-half who's been moved into midfield, and today he was called upon to maybe score a goal because he was the only one who was probably likely to do so, and it was a little bit beyond anything that perhaps he was capable of. At half-time it was possibly the worst half I've seen in quite some time, and I've sat in this very seat, in this very position, many times. So for me to say that was almost as bad as I've seen is really quite some statement. It was so bad that even David Moyes, who I am convinced does not want to be part of this competition, took 3 players off at half-time. At half-time, myself and Tone enjoyed a beer. Well, maybe enjoyed is a stretch too far. We shared a drink at the bottom of those very stairs. I told Tony that the worst passer in the first half was Paulo Fornals. He misplaced the ball at least 7 times. The second worst passer was Carlos Sanchez. He replaced the ball as many times as he dared. And the next worst passer of the ball was Balbuena, who gave the ball away 4 or 5 times. I think at half time, David Moyes probably thought, actually, I better get those guys off. And he did. He made 3 substitutions at half time. All I can say is it really didn't make a difference. In the second half, they had a man sent off, and we still didn't look like winning the game. Tony, your thoughts, please, my friends.
Mate. Shit first half, second half slightly better, but only a little bit less shit. Let's quickly reflect and remind ourselves that this year is the 40th anniversary of us winning the FA Cup for the last time. 40 years. It's a bit of a, that's an important, it's a long time, and like you say, to surrender so meekly is a fucking disgrace. Can someone please, next time Carlos Sanchez takes onto the field, if someone can tell him to dye his hair and put on a red nose, at least he'll give us some entertainment.
A comical clowning performance, Tony.
Yeah, exactly, mate, yeah. And give him the right size boots, size 45s. I mean, I got here 10 minutes late. Thank God I got here 10 minutes late. Thank God I left to get a beer 5 minutes before the end of the first half, because that was as poor a display of passing and shooting as I've ever seen. In fact, I was joking to the lad I was sitting next to that it looks like our shots in the second half, it looked like someone had turned the pitch up at like a 30-degree angle, because everyone was going 10 yards to the right of a goal. Yeah. No one can shoot, no one can pass. Lanzini's not even a shadow of his former self, because a fucking shadow has some presence. He's not even a shadow. He's walking around, he's got his fucking pink football boots on. No, hang on a minute, someone needs to pull him out of there, get him the fuck off the pitch. It's become a waste of space. I'll take you up on the Declan Rice point. I actually think Mark Noble actually did quite well in the second half. He was the only one that came on and completed some passes. All right, that shot at the end was a shame, and but it was so typical of this game. We could have played until Christmas, and it's one of those games we could play until Christmas. We weren't going to score. So there was nothing right about it. It was a pathetic display of predominantly passing and shooting. Someone needs to have a word with these lads and tell them, memo to the West Ham United Football Club first team, you don't win football matches if you can't pass and shoot. And the passing was abysmal. I think the shoot was even worse.
Absolutely. I've got Andy here with us. Andy joined us and sat with us for the game. New to the channel, Andy. I mean, what's your take on the game, mate? You were quite vocal during it.
Very, very, very poor performance. The first half was absolutely abysmal, as both of you have said. Carlos Sanchez, I had my doubts about him before the game even started when I saw the team sheet, and it turns out that he managed to make not one but two mistakes that led to their goal.
Yes.
Second half, it did improve after the 3 substitutions, but was far from perfect. It looked to me like the team were frightened to take responsibility. They were very slow moving forward and getting out. Even in the dying minutes, I could see players waiting for the opposition to get back behind the ball. Even when there was only 10 of them there, they still couldn't get back and beyond them. It was we was never going to score if this game went on for another.
Well, Tony said until Christmas.
Yeah,
and we've just had it.
Probably right. It's just awful, really was.
So Andy, I mean, what do you think? Any ramification for this? Are you seeing anything that you think has a wider implication to what's going to happen this season?
I think we can expect a drop into the bottom 3 within the next month or so.
You don't think we'll beat Liverpool?
I don't think we'll beat Liverpool, and I can't see us getting much against Manchester City either, for that matter.
Well, I totally agree, and as things stand, let's be fair, if we can't beat West Brom with 10 men, are we likely to beat Brighton with 11? I would think that this seems to be a club in capitulation. They seem to lack in any sort of direction at all. The players, if this was an isolated game, you might be able to put it down to foreign players not being able to get up for the FA Cup because it's not part of what they deem to be important. I don't think that's that. I think it runs much deeper than that. I think there's a lack of effort. I think there's a lack of desire. I think we've got a number of players out there who are just not up to playing in the Premier League, not Premier League standard. Today we got to see a Jetty. He didn't seem like he was up to it. He's not up to it against West Brom's defence with 11 on them on the pitch. And then subsequently 10 of them on the pitch. We're probably not likely to do any better. Tony?
Yeah, I mean, can we also make a point that we have got a lot of players out there that are good enough to play in the Premier League, but they're looking like players that aren't good enough to play in the Premier League. We seem to be a bit of a graveyard for players as a football club. I don't doubt for 1 second that Sebastian Haller, if he left here, if he went somewhere else, he'd be banging in 20 goals a season.
Absolutely.
There is a systematic disease at this football club, and that disease is Sullivanitis.
Oh, I was going to say average-itis, but yeah.
Sullivanitis. Okay. In the fact that it's I don't want to start dwelling on all that stuff. There's another day for that, and that'll probably be the Liverpool away game. But the point is, today, I think that if obviously it's an FA Cup match, a lot of families here today. It's a lot of the regulars weren't here, but I think if that had been a league game, the atmosphere here today would have been a lot more toxic than it was. Yeah. It's a cup game. There's a lot of people,
day trippers.
A lot of day trippers, and I think like today, I mean, even then the boos were deafening. They ranked up the old the sound system as soon as they could.
They did, yeah.
You can imagine a little bloke in there giving turn it up.
He wanked it up as high as he could. So.
But yeah, mate, it's troubling times, mate. I don't. There's no direction from the people that's supposed to be running the club. Yeah, we are an aeroplane without any pilots.
We are, and rudders, wings, and fuel. Andy, and any last words, my friend?
No, I think really basically the pair of you have covered the sentiments of probably just about everyone in the ground, except for that small section over there where the West Brom fans were.
Yeah, they were vociferous and loud and feisty all game. Talking of vociferous, loud and feisty, we have a steward ushering us away. Two stewards. We better get out of here. Lots of videos during the week. We'll decide. We will dissect this in greater detail during the week. Subscribe if you're new
All right,
around
mate.
here.
Yep.
Give it a thumbs up if you don't give it a thumbs down if you think the match was bad. Hopefully the review's all right. I'll catch you later. Thank you very much.